Hi there, are you ready to relax and fall asleep? Let me tell you a little story to help you drift off peacefully. In every corner of history, tucked between the epic battles and the grand bloodlines, lie quieter stories. Stories that whisper rather than roar. This is one of those stories. It's a tale not of conquest, but of a deep and powerful love. Of a boy who rose from complete obscurity to the side of an emperor, shaking an entire dynasty to its core. Today, we remember Dong Xian, a name almost buried by time, but one that was once whispered in the hallowed palace halls of Han China as the emperor's most beloved favorite. The Western Han dynasty was one of the most powerful and influential eras in all of Chinese history. It spanned over 2 centuries and was defined by incredible prosperity, cultural explosions, and, of course, shadowy internal politics. It's into this world that, in the year 07 BC, a young man named Dong Xian entered the imperial court. He was just 19 years old. He wasn't from a noble family, nor was he born into any kind of privilege. But fate, and more importantly, the emperor's gaze, was about to change everything for him forever. Emperor Ai of Han, then in his early 20s, was known throughout the land for his sharp intelligence, but also for his rather delicate and sensitive nature. He wasn't a hardened warrior king like many of his predecessors. When he first met Dong Xian, it was as if a spark ignited. Almost instantly, a deep and undeniable affection was born between them. The history books, surprisingly, don't shy away from what happened next. The emperor didn't simply befriend Dong Xian. He fell profoundly in love with him. And this wasn't a love that was hidden away in the shadows. It was displayed for the entire court to see. Dong Xian became the emperor's constant companion. He was by his side in court, at grand banquets, and even at night. The two of them slept in the same bed, they shared private conversations, and they trusted only each other in a world filled with intrigue. In an astonishingly short period of time, Dong Xian was promoted at a pace that absolutely stunned the court. He went from a simple palace attendant to the commander of the imperial guard, and then to one of the most powerful men in all of China. He was showered with vast tracts of land, prestigious titles, and was even allowed to enter the emperor's private chambers without being announced, an utterly unthinkable privilege for anyone else. One morning, the story goes, Emperor Ai woke up to find Dong Xian still sound asleep beside him. The young man's head was resting peacefully on the emperor's long, flowing sleeve. Rather than stir his lover and disturb his sleep, the emperor took a small knife and carefully cut off his own sleeve, freeing himself without waking Dong Xian. That simple, tender act became one of the most iconic and enduring symbols of same-sex love in Chinese history. From that day forward, the phrase, which translates to the cut sleeve, became a poetic and beautiful way to refer to the love between two men. It wasn't seen as vulgar, it wasn't taboo, it was, quite simply, love. The court was filled with jealous whispers and resentful murmurs. Officials began to accuse Dong Xian of corruption, of seducing the emperor for his own gain, and of threatening the very stability of the empire. Many believed his meteoric rise was based solely on love, not on any real merit. And perhaps, in some ways, they were right. But the emperor, completely smitten, ignored every single one of them. He even famously declared, "If I could make him my empress, I would." That statement wasn't just scandalous, it was revolutionary. A male empress. The court was utterly outraged, but for a precious while no one dared to move against them. Their love was their shield. Then, in the year 01 BC, a tragedy struck. Emperor Ai fell gravely ill. He died suddenly at the tragically young age of 26. In that moment, Dong Xian's entire world collapsed. Without his lover, his protector, he was completely vulnerable. The powerful regent Wang Mang, a man who had long despised Dong Xian's influence, seized control of the government. His first act was to turn on the emperor's favorite. Dong Xian was stripped of all his titles and his wealth. Shortly after, he was ordered to commit suicide. He was barely 22 years old. So, what are we to make of their story? Was their love fair? Was it purely political? Or was it pure and true? Perhaps it was a complicated mix of all of the above, but one thing is absolutely certain. Their love was real enough to shake an empire to its foundations. It was powerful enough to be remembered for millennia, and that, in itself, is a kind of immortality. Their story reminds us that love, in all its forms, has the power to change the world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. I hope this story helps you find some peace as you drift off to sleep. If it moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories from the quiet corners of history. Sleep well.